morning. I just want to take what we've been talking about a little bit further because I think you're ready for it. You're such a good trainer. What I want you to think about is that with all of our training, we want to still allow the dog to be a dog. They come hardwired, inbuilt with really strong canine instinct. So if we shut them down, then we're shutting down what makes them be the dog that they are. So with our distraction training, we want her to still feel that she's able to look at whatever the trigger is, because in her natural state, it might be prey that she wants to hunt to survive. She needs to make kills to survive. Or it could be a predator, so she needs to have that adrenaline surge and take flight because it's a fear response. So in the human context, we don't want her to be overreactive, either for overexcitement or for fear. And we don't want to shut down her canine instinct. So we want her to feel free to look, but she's just not allowed to overreact. So there's a bit of a fine line in a puppy because as soon as they look at something, whether it's fearful or whether it's exciting, they do tend to overreact. So that's why we teach impulse control. It's kind of the trendy concept of the moment in dog training. It's true though. It's actually quite a good concept to be really focusing on. And the very latest trend in dog training is arousal. And the reason we need to control impulse is because if they're aroused, they're not listening to us and they're not thinking straight and they're not learning. So if she's aroused with excitement because of chickens or Kane acting like a puppy on crack, I love that, or if she's scared of a big dog that's barking at her or something, or she's aroused with excitement because there's people and dogs nearby, she's not listening to you and she's not learning anything. So that's why your focus training is absolutely critical. And we do in no way negating what you've done. It's brilliant. Impulse control is achieved through focusing on you and, if necessary, you distracting her with other things like obedience cues or tricks to do or simply walking away or whatever. But, and this is where we get down to what I wanted to talk to you about, is the canine instinct. We don't want to shut her down. So we want her to be able to look at whatever the trigger is, but we don't want her to react. We don't want her to get into a state of arousal. So what I said to you in our little note to each other before was, if she's reacting to people and dogs when you're out and about, then you've got to get further away from them so that you're far enough away that the trigger doesn't cause arousal or reactivity in any way. If it's the chickens in your backyard, first of all, you must always have her on a lead. If she's had a big fail, it's probably because you didn't actually have any control over her, and you cannot expect a 5-month-old puppy to have good voice control at this stage. It's admirable that you're so confident in her that you felt that she would be able to override her pure canine instinct. And I'm going to say this, don't be offended, but she didn't make the mistake. Enough said. Anyway, so we need to allow her to look but not react. It's the same as somebody walking past out the front of your place with a dog, or walking past in the park. We don't want them to bark and bark and bark and bark. They're allowed to look, and they're even allowed to woof, but they're just not allowed to go on with it or become so excited that there's just, a bit of an issue with control. So what I want you to think about when you're doing all your training that you've described to me, which is fantastic, this is just the next level. You're so good with what you've done, you're ready to move up. Because what I want you to think about is letting her be a dog. She's allowed to look, she's just not allowed to react. Or she's allowed to react in a controlled way with a bit of a woof or a stand upright and a tail wag, but not lunge and bark. Or if she's out with the chickens, she's allowed to look at them, but she's not allowed to pounce. As she gets better and better with these things, you can move closer and closer. So the key is to start far enough away that she's not likely to overreact. So this is where you've got to really know her well and assess her, and it can change from one day to another because she might be more excited one day than another, or the chickens might be noisier and flappier than another day, or there might be a dog in the park that she's met before and that's more exciting. You need to put your human ability to intuitively assess a situation and predict what her reaction will be. If in doubt, move back so that there's less chance of her reacting than if you just sort of trusted her. Can't trust a 5-month-old puppy. It's just not in her yet. But what you're doing and how far you've got her is absolutely brilliant. So what I want you to do is let her look, and then when she looks back to you, preferably voluntarily or on cue with focus or look or whatever your focus cue is, that's when you click or say yes and reward her. So let her see it, let her analyse it, and then that split second before she overreacts, distract her, or preferably she would naturally want to look straight back up to you because of your training that you've already done. And that's when you give her a jackpot, because if she can look at you while those triggers are happening, that's exactly what you want her to do. You want her to look up to you for guidance. Okay, Mum, there's a chook just run across the yard and it's flapping and squawking. What do I do now? And you hopefully will get a voluntary focus, in which case you jackpot. If you have to cue her to focus on you, then it's not a jackpot. It's just a click and a treat, for sure, treat. But if what you're aiming for is voluntary focus. Does that make sense? So what we're doing is we're allowing her to look at the trigger, and we're allowing her to be a dog and to assess it, and then to go back through her thought processes of you conditioning her how she's to behave in the human environment, and basically to look to you for guidance. She gets rewarded, and then maybe she gets the game with her ball on a rope, or love, or tricks to spin or do whatever. Again, if you feel that she's going to react and you're too close to the trigger, just walk away. Do your emergency about face and get out of there. Don't stop and try and get her focused. Don't try and make her sit or spin or drop. You've just got to get out of there because you've mucked it up, not her. Don't ever blame her, but learn from it. Don't blame yourself, but just learn from it. If you've gone too close, or if somebody's barreled around the corner and you weren't expecting them to suddenly be in your face and she's going to react, just cross the road or about face or duck up a driveway, or if it's a chook in the yard, just walk her away. And that way we're allowing her to still be the quintessential boxer that we adore, because they are extremely playful, extremely smart, and just will always want to overreact. That's why boxers are quite a difficult breed in training. Even though they're smart, they are so playful that they get very excitable very, very easily. They're confident dogs, and therefore the fear thing isn't usually the issue. It's more overexcitement. So we don't want her to have her joy of life shut down. So have a think about that. Maybe modify the way you're handling it a little bit now that you've got such good focus from her. Maybe, I think your idea of Kane immediately stopping is fantastic, because what that's doing, maybe if you don't even realise this, by him stopping being a puppy on crack, he's suddenly becoming less interesting, which is making it easy for her to focus on you. So maybe as this gets better, he could reduce the amount of puppy on crack behaviour if he hears you say the cue word to focus or look, or whatever your cue word is. And he needs to be spot on with his timing as well. And only if you have to repeat it does he stop completely. And then as she gets better and better, he can actually keep doing it to the whatever level he was doing it before, and ultimately increase the level. And while you maintain her focus and get her to do stuff that she can be rewarded for. All right, so if you've got any questions, don't hesitate to let me know. I did actually intend to call you, but I don't seem to have your number on my phone. So maybe text it to me and I'll whack it in my phone. I don't want to have to start looking up paperwork. I know it's on my paperwork, but I don't do paperwork. Just text it to me. All right, you're a gem. You're an absolute brilliant trainer. I'm so happy with the home that special little girl has gone to. And keep up the good work, both of you. Please video Kane being a puppy on crack. It'll make my day. Catch you soon. Bye.